Jaya Krishna Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Krishna Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Dhananchari Yamuna Tira Dhananchari Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Dhananchari Yamuna Tira Dhananchari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe, Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe, Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Go to the Daya Vishupad Paramahamsa Pri Vrajakachaja Stotra Satta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Shilabhai Charanada Vindabhakti Vedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Anta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandagiti Founder Charyas Divine Grace Sri Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Harinama Sankirtan Ki Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jaini Tagore Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada Ki. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Sya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sarvetam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakan Vitam Sha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kantana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Kripa Sindhu Gaivasa Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Dharam Chaiva Narotamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraya. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Sri Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayashabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreya Sayalokasya Dhanyam Swastayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Sri Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Sarabhyaya Namaha.
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Om Sarabhyaya Namaha.
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Om Sarabhyaya Namaha.
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Mukam karoti vasaram pangom langayate girim yatkripatamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yatkripatamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam class. We are continuing from Canto number 1, chapter 11, entitled Lord Krishna's Entrance into Dwaraka. And today's text number 38. Yes, 38. Etad Ishanam Ishasya Prakriti Sto Pi Api Tad Gunai Na Yujyate Sadatma Stair Yatha Buddhis Tad Ashraya Etad Ishanam Ishasya Prakrite Stopi Tad Gunai Na Yujyate Sadat Mastair Yatha Buddhistad Ashraya Prakriti Stopi Tad Gunai Na Yujyate Sadat Mastair Yatha Buddhistad Ashraya Etad Ishanam Ishasya Prakriti Stopitad Gunai Nayujyate Sadat Mastair Yatha Buddhistadashraya
Prakristo Vitadgunai Na Yujyate Sadatmastai Yatha Buddhi Sadasraya Etadina Namishasya Prakristo Tadgune Pragatisto Abhitadgune Na Yujyate Sadatmastaya Na Yujyate Sadatmastaya Yatha Buddhi Sadashraya Etad Ishanam Ishasya Prakatisto Vitadgune Na Yujyate Sadatmastai Yatha Buddhi Sadasraya Etad Ishanam
Yujyate Sadat Mastair
Yatha Buddhi
Yatha Buddhistadashraya. This Ishanam divinity Ishasya of the personality of Godhead Prakritistaha being in contact with material nature Api in spite of Tat Gunai by the qualities Na Yujyate is affected Sada Atmastai,
Sada Asmastai,
by those who are situated in eternity.
those who are situated in eternity.
Yatha,
Yatha,
as is.
as is.
Buddhihi, intelligence.
Intelligence.
Tat,
Tad,
the Lord.
the Lord.
Astraya,
Ashraya,
those who are under the shelter of.
those who are under the shelter of.
Translation purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai.
This is the divinity of the personality of Godhead. He is not affected by the qualities of material nature, even though he is in contact with them. Similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord do not become influenced by the material qualities. Kindly repeat after me. This is the divinity
This is the divinity
of the personality of Godhead.
of the personality of Godhead.
He is not affected
He is not affected
by the qualities of material nature,
by the qualities of nature,
even though
even though
he is in contact with them.
he is in contact with them.
Similarly,
Similarly,
the devotees who have taken shelter
the devotees who have taken shelter
of the Lord
of the Lord
do not become influenced
do not become influenced
by the material qualities.
by the material qualities.
Purport. The Vedas, in the Vedas, and Vedic literatures, Shruti and Smriti, it is affirmed that in the divinity there is nothing material. He is transcendental, nirguna, only, the supreme cognizant. Hari, or the personality of Godhead, is the supreme transcendental person, is situated beyond the range of material affection. These statements are also confirmed even by Acharya Shankara. One may argue that that his relation with the goddesses of fortune may be transcendental, but what about his relation with the Yadu dynasty, being born in that family, or his killing the non-believers like Jarasandha and other asuras directly in contact with the modes of material nature? The answer is that the divinity of the personality of Godhead is never in contact with the qualities of material nature in any circumstances. Actually, he is in contact with such qualities because he is the ultimate source of everything. Yet he is above the actions of such qualities. He is known therefore as Yogeshvara, or the master of mystic power, or in other words, the all-powerful, the all-powerful. Even his learned devotees are not affected by the influence of the material modes. The great six Goswamis of Vrindavan all came from greatly rich and aristocratic families. But when they adopted the life of mendicants at Vrindavan, superficially they appeared to be in wretched conditions of life, but factually they were the richest of all in spiritual values. Such Mahabhagavatas, or first-class devotees, although moving amongst men, are not contaminated by honor or insult, hunger or satisfaction, sleep or wakefulness, which are all resultant actions of the three modes of material nature. Similarly, some of them are engaged in worldly dealings, yet are unaffected. unless these neutralities of life are there, one cannot be considered situated in transcendence. The divinity and his associates are on the same transcendental plane, and their glories are always sanctified by the action of Yogamaya, or the internal potency of the Lord. The devotees of the Lord are always transcendental, even if they are sometimes found to have fallen in their behavior. The Lord emphatically declares in the Bhagavad Gita 9:30 that even if an unalloyed devotee is found to be fallen due to a previous material contamination, he is nevertheless to be accepted as fully transcendental because of his being engaged 100% in the devotional service of the Lord. The Lord protects him always because of his rendering service unto him. And the fallen conditions are to be considered accidental and temporary. They all vanish in no time. Translation again. This is the divinity of the personality of Godhead. He is not affected by the qualities of material nature. Even though he is in contact with them. Similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord do not become influenced by the material qualities. So in the translation, there is reference to the divinity of the personality of Godhead. And in the purport, Prabhupada uses the very same word, but with this time with a capital D. The divinity and his associates. So the divinity means the supreme personality of Godhead. Daiva, divine, divinity. Although the Lord descends in the material world, which is a world, we could say, contaminated by the modes of material nature, he remains totally unaffected by these modes of material nature, because he always remains in his transcendental position. And what is, of course, nicely explained and should be encouraging for us is that the conditioned souls, by taking up a particular process which is recommended in the Shastra, that particular process means by adopting that same divinity, that same divine, those same divine activities, can also become situated like the Lord in full divinity, without being affected by the modes of material. That is described as being the position both of the Lord and his unalloyed devotees, his Mahabhagavatas, his Uttamadikari. Uttamadikari means one who is situated on that transcendental platform. So that is a whole science, that is the science we are endeavoring to learn and to put into practice. That is the science of sadhana bhakti. Not only does a full absorption in the divinity, which means full absorption in pure devotional activities, bring one above these three modes of material nature. Not only does it allow us to transcend these modes of material nature, but the Acharyas also explain that it allows us to also transcend the threefold miseries of life. Isn't it? What are the threefold miseries of life?
Yes.
Threefold miseries of life. They begin with Adi. Yeah. Huh? Tell, you can tell.
Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, and Adhyatmik.
What do they mean?
Adhyatmik
Adhyatmic.
means by the miseries are from directly demigods or something.
Adhyatmic.
Yeah.
Adhyatmic means Atma.
Yeah.
Means body and mind. Yeah, Adhyatmic means miseries that are caused by our own body,
Yes.
our own mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Adi Daivik means demigods, caused by demigods, and Adi Bhautik means are caused by material nature.
Adibhautic means caused by
Material nature.
other living entities.
Yes.
Yeah. You're walking from Rasamrita Kunj to here, and some dog starts to chase you, or some group of jackals take notice of you. But they go the other up. They're usually not attacking. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. There's so many, and all these things are happening actually due to karma, isn't it? It's all, so many things are coming back to us. We have absolutely no control over that. But that's how we get reaction to our bad karmic activities. So, Adi Daivik, Daiva. Daiva means, in this case, Daivik means demigods, yeah. Although Daiva, here we're seeing the word Daiva means, actual meaning, divine, yeah. That is why when we speak of, our acharyas speak of Daiva Varnashrama, that means divine, as opposed to, we could say, material system. That materials one cannot avoid actually, because the modes of material nature are constantly playing out. We are constantly under the influence of the modes of material nature, except when one fully becomes or fully takes shelter of the Daivi Prakriti. So that's why it should serve as impetus for us to strive to become situated and to be, we become protected when we are taking fully shelter of the Daivi Prakriti. And as Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita, that is the characteristic of the great souls, the Mahatmas. Mahatmanas tamam partham daivim prakritim asritaha. Daivi prakriti asritaha, taking shelter. Ananya. Mahatmanas tamam partham daivim prakritim asritaha bhajanti. Bhajanti ananya manaso. What does that mean? Bhajanti ananya manaso. Manasa, mana, mind. Yeah. Bhajanti means we are engaged in activities of bhajan. Constantly bhajan. What does bhajan mean? Chanting? It means
Remembering Lord.
Means all the 9 activities. Beginning with Sarvanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. But bhajan, Lord, and associating with the Lord's devotees, etc. When our mind is, in other words, becomes preoccupied with such divine divine thoughts and divine activities, then we gradually become less and less influenced by the modes of material nature and by the threefold miseries of life. And of course, at the end of the purport, Prabhupada reminds us about a point that Krishna explained in the Gita. Who may be a devotee, someone who is a devotee, but if he falls down, then what is his position? So once having again regained our position as devotee, even though we may fall, and it happens in Kali Yuga more so, then still that person is meant to be considered as a devotee, if it is accidental fall down. So there's fall down and fall down. Accidental fall down is circumstantially, not that one is constantly remaining in one's fallen condition. That is different. Still, that person at any time, by the mercy of Krishna, can again, or by the good association of devotees, can again wake up to spiritual life. So we should seek out the association of good devotees, out those places where the divine energy is being manifest, isn't it? We should come to the temple. We should associate with devotees who are here. We should perform all of these activities. The 5 most powerful activities that help us awaken and bring us to that transcendental platform, which what are the 5 activities? Beginning, I'll give it away. Beginning with Sadhu Sangha. What is that very nice verse in the 22nd chapter of Madhya Lila, chapter on devotional service? You have to scratch your brain. Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavatam, giving Bhagavatam. That's 3. Nama, Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavata Sravana, Mathura Vasa, Sri Murtira, Sri Murti, Archa, yes. Huh? Yeah, well actually, the verse continues. Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavata Sravana Mathura Vasa Sri Murtira Shraddhaya Sevana means Shraddha, with great faith. Shraddhaya Sevana. We should perform such activities of devotional service. Shraddhaya Sevana, then you have the verse? You don't have the verse. Sangha Nama Sakala Sadhana Shrestha. Sakala means all of them. Sakala Sadhana Shrestha. Shrestha means great. Yes. Sakala Sadhana Shrestha E Pancha Anga. Pancha Anga means
5 parts.
5 parts.
Krishna Prema Janamaya E Panchara Alpasanga.
Yes. Krishna can, within a short time, for those who especially practice these 5 activities. So these are considered the most powerful activities by which we can gradually, when we awaken, I mean, that is our goal, our objective, to awaken Krishna Prema, isn't it? So those who actually awaken Krishna Prema, they are on the divine platform, transcendental platform, and therefore not affected by the devotees. Describe that when Srila Prabhupada would travel, and he traveled a lot, those who haven't traveled, let's say, for long distances, I mean, taking flights and going from one continent to another, they might have heard about, what is it, jet lag, but have not experienced it. Jet lag. But the devotees, they would describe that when the Prabhupada would, wherever he would travel, he would immediately get into his same routine. There was no jet lag. Prabhupada was kind of like, you know, we could say immune to jet lag. Quite remarkable because of his very high level of advancement, high level of we could say divinity, because the word daiva, divinity, is mentioned here. So we need to associate with the divinity, but we need to know, that's a whole subject matter of tattva, because different groups or different sampradayas have different tattvas. Yes, very fascinating subject matter. But we should feel very secure in taking shelter of personalities like, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the 6 Goswamis, and all of the other Vaishnavacharyas coming down in Guru Parampara tattvas. So this should be encouraging and inspiring for us, and can help us understand Krishna, who was performing his activities in Dwaraka in full opulence and surrounded by all of these these beauties. Prabhupada mentions in 134, all of these queens in Dwaraka. Krishna's 16,108 queens. They were constantly there, just begging to serve the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord remained, of course, he played out, actually, that's the amazing thing, he played out the perfect role of both a husband and a father. And he remained totally transcendental, even when dealing in his business of killing demoniac personalities. So the Lord is fully, completely, always in his transcendental position of Satchit Ananda Vigraha, and the Jiva, the living entity who follows in the footsteps, who takes shelter of the Daivi Prakriti, also becomes protected by the gunas. The opposite is there, that all of our endeavors and attempts will become baffled if we otherwise take shelter of the external energy. What is that verse? Mogasha mogakar mano moga jnana vicetasa rakshasim asurim saiva mohinim prakritim sritaha. Mohini Prakriti is the opposite of Daivi Prakriti. So the Mohini Prakriti, when we take shelter, as most people do, and sometimes devotees, if they're not cautious, they will slip back possibly to such activities, then it is a formula for for ultimately for suffering. Mogasha, Moga Karmano. Forget that. Mogasha, Moga Karmano. Moga Gyan, very nice verse. Moga Gyana Vititasa. Mogasha, Asha, all of our aspirations or desires. Moga Karmano, all of our activities. Moga Gyana, all of our knowledge. Moga, just like there is the Amoga Lila in Chaitanya Charitamrita. What is that Amoga Lila? 9? 2. 12. Oh, 9, 12. Yeah. And I think, huh?
Who is Amog Lila in Chaitanya Charitamrita?
Yeah.
Son-in-law of
Huh? The son of? Well,
son-in-law
his name is not Amoga Lila. It's his name is Amoga, but he performed a particular lila, and therefore it's referred to as.
He is son-in-law of Saro. No, Saro. What is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Correct. Very good. That means you're either reading or listening to the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yes.
Madhya chapter 16.
Madhya chapter 16. Yes. When will that day come when we can just go from this?
Because I read it yesterday.
Oh.
I just
Is it?
We already read this lila before.
Ah, okay.
Past chapter 16.
I see. Yes, yes. Okay. Well, I just read this. Good chance.
We read it also. It's weekend also.
Hey, what's going on here? They're taking shelter of the divine.
Prabhu also. In the weekend we read also.
On the weekend. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they came to me and we read that chapter.
So reading is very important, huh? Of course. Hearing. I mean, reading means hearing. Reading and hearing. Namanam Kirtanam. So any thoughts on this verse or purport or question? Wow. I will read the translation once more. This is the divinity of the personality of Godhead. He is not affected by the qualities of material nature, even though he is in contact with them. Sometimes it is mentioned that he is never in contact. Here it's mentioned that he's in contact.
He's in that situation.
Means he's within the material world where the modes of material nature are all pervading. Yeah. And then similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord do not become influenced by the material qualities. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize this. There's only one verse left.
Yes. Only one.
Yeah. Let's see.
And every time we complete chapter in 1 month. This is November 11. We complete chapter in November.
Is it, huh?
Then we in France in 12. Chapter 12.
So you have been taking note, huh? Every month, one chapter.
Yeah.
Okay, we can read the last one actually, which is connected with, text number 39. Taminire balamudha Strainam chanu vratam raha apramana vido bhartur iswaram matayo yatha. The translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The simple and delicate women truly thought that Lord Sri Krishna, their beloved husband, followed them and was dominated by them. They were unaware of the extent of the glories of their husband, as the atheists are unaware of him as the supreme controller. Okay, purport. Even the transcendental wives of Lord Sri Krishna did not know completely the unfathomable glories of the Lord. This ignorance is not mundane because there is some action of the internal potency of the Lord in the exchange of feelings between him and his eternal associates. The Lord exchanges transcendental relations in 5 ways: as proprietor, master, friend, son, and lover. And in each of these pastimes he plays fully by the potency of Yogamaya, the internal potency. He plays exactly like an equal friend with the cowherd boys, or even with friends like Arjuna. He plays exactly like a son in the presence of Yashoda Mata. He plays exactly like a lover in the presence of the cowherd damsels, and he plays exactly like a husband in the presence of the queens of Dwaraka. Such devotees of the Lord never think of the Lord as the supreme, but think of him exactly as a common friend, a pet son, or a lover, or a husband, very much dear to heart and soul. That is a relation between the Lord and his transcendental devotees, who act as his associates in the spiritual sky, where there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets. When the Lord descends, he does so along with his entourage to display a complete picture of the transcendental world, where pure love and devotion for the Lord prevail without any mundane tinge of lording it over the creation of the Lord. Such devotees of the Lord are all liberated souls, perfect representations of the marginal or internal potency in complete negation of the influence of the external potency. The wives of Lord Krishna were made to forget the immeasurable glories of the Lord by the internal potency, so that there might not be any flaw of exchange. And they took it for granted that the Lord was a henpecked husband, always following them in lonely places. In other words, even the personal associates of the Lord do not know him perfectly well. So what do the thesis writers or mental speculators know about the transcendental glories of the Lord? The mental speculators present different theses as to his becoming the causes of the creation, the ingredients of the creation, or the material and efficient cause of the creation, etc. But all this is but partial knowledge about the Lord. Factually, they are as ignorant as the common man. The Lord can be known by the mercy of the Lord only, and by no other means. The Lord, yes. But since The dealings of the Lord with his wives are based on pure transcendental love and devotion. The wives are all on the transcendental plane without material contamination. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 11th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Lord Krishna's Entrance into Dwaraka.
So, if the Lord is not attached to that opulence, which is described in Dwaraka, not attached to that servants, means why why is that? So how it happens that it is still appears like in this Dwaraka, like a great opulence, these persons are very pure, transcendental persons. So how these things happens without the Lord directly wanting
Without the Lord directly
wanting it.
wanting this.
But everything is happened by the will of the Lord.
Yes, of course, everything happens by the will of the Lord, but we also, as living entities, have a particular inclination, and we have a particular transcendental or divine relationship with the Lord, isn't it? And Prabhupada gives a list of the different rasas that are available, that are possible, and the Madhurya rasa, which is considered the topmost relation with the Lord, is exhibited in two features or in two ways. One in Vrindavan with ordinary young girls, the gopis, and one in Dwaraka where the Lord is duly married to all of the queens. So, as Prabhupada explains in the purport, also in order for those kind of exchanges to take place, then both the Lord, as we could say, as the king of Dwaraka, or playing the role of king, of husband, both he and the queens, they play the perfect role of people who are of royal descent and who live, because in people who are born in like royal family, for them it's like they take it for granted, opulence. Of course, the difference is that if one is material, one will become attached in so many different ways and may exploit that position, but that is not the case in terms of the Lord. That opulence is there. Opulence is natural for those in royal order, and they use that opulence in so many ways actually to protect the citizens and to evoke amongst common people a sense of, these are great people, they're surrounded by so much of opulence. So it's to fulfill the desires of, ultimately it's to fulfill the desires of his devotees who want to serve him in that way as husband in Dwaraka, whereas Vrindavan is a different lila. So it's to, in other words, it's to facilitate the different rasas to actually take place according to our individual, what is it, Nitya Swarup. We have a particular Swarup or a particular relationship, eternal relationship, which is at present unknown for the conditioned soul, and even for most devotees, it's not immediately something that one knows or understands. But in the case of the queens of Dwaraka, as Prabhupada mentioned a few times in this chapter, the Lord, when he descends in the material world, he brings his entourage, he brings his eternal associates, and he performs his activities.
And there are only eternal associates or sadhakas also.
Yes, there are three types actually. What are the three types of fortunate living entities who participate in Krishna's different leelas, whether it is Vrindavan or Dwaraka or Mathura? One is, as we just mentioned, the eternal associates of the Lord. Huh? Yes, another category are demigods who have become qualified to also take part in those leelas, and others are sadhakas, those living entities who have taken up to sadhana bhakti over a long period of time and have gradually risen from sadhana bhakti to bhava bhakti and eventually prema bhakti, and who are therefore on the level of pure devotional service and who are ready to go back to the spiritual world. Yeah. So those are the three types of jivas who get opportunity to participate. Means that one day we also, when will that day be mine?
And you say that everything is happened by sadhusanga, so you have to find pure devotees to have sadhusanga, but you don't know if the pure devotee, what kind of rasa he's cultivating. So is it the same if I meet a pure devotee of being in a Dwaraka mode or in different mode? Should I associate with them or?
I think we should not be too selective or choosing.
Yeah.
Any pure devotee will help us become advanced, and the understanding or the revelation of who we are, although that pure devotee with whom we associate may be of a particular rasa, may be manifesting a particular rasa, but by associating with such a person, then we may develop similar rasa or different rasa, because the development of rasa is something that naturally happens, and happens, of course, by the mercy of Krishna ultimately, and his pure devotees. Yeah. And because pure devotees are so rare, so we shouldn't. Anyway, most of us cannot differentiate. We cannot differentiate between. Well, he's a pure devotee in Madhurya Rasa. No, he's a pure devotee. I mean, to find a pure devotee in itself is very rare. Mm.
Then they will bring their place.
Mm?
That they will bring their place.
The day?
If you associate with the Dwaraka mood devotee, then they will bring
Develop
us
that mood.
Like Vaikuntha buses brought Gopakumar to Vaikuntha, not to Vrindavan,
Yes.
where he originally, supposed to
Yes.
end.
Yes.
It was not a problem for him, but
Yes.
it happened.
So because everything is based on sadhu sangha, as you rightly mentioned a few minutes ago, so even those who are in Vaikuntha, if they one fine day are fortunate to associate with Narada Muni, then from Vaikuntha they can go to Goloka. Yeah. And Vaikuntha is not a bad place. But we are told actually that the followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are being trained, are being prepared to actually follow in the footsteps of the residents of Vrindavan, in particular the gopis of Vrindavan. You heard that? Yeah. But in any event, it is also explained by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, something very confidential. Should I tell you? Yes. Well, I'm sure you've heard it before. It's in the Brahma Samhita. The unique feature of the sincere followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what awaits them when they finally go back to Goloka, is that in a very inconceivable, unexplainable manner or way, they will simultaneously, in two different transcendental bodies, spiritual bodies, participate in Gaura Lila and Krishna Lila. Now that's something. I mean, even to participate in one of them is like, it's like topmost. Now, what to speak of participating in both. So that means that, what is it? Our aim is very high. Shoot for the top, Yes. But, but some people, we won't get into that discussion, but some people who are professing or presenting themselves as followers of bhakti advocate that there is no hierarchy. That there is no hierarchy, because when you accept or establish higher knowledge, it's not that we create hierarchy, know that there is hierarchy, then that's very different. I mean, what does hierarchy mean? Some is higher than other, isn't it? Hierarchy. Hierarchy. It's like, it seems to me that automatically, naturally, there's a hierarchy between the jiva, the soul, and the original super soul. I mean, the jiva and God, Krishna. That is, that's like a very fundamental principle of the Bhagavad Gita. Mamaye vangsho jiva loke. Anksha. Mamaye vangsho jiva loke. That's one of the four tattvas. I want to speak about tattva. The first of four tattvas of the jiva is that the jiva is amsha, part and parcel. Part and parcel. And also prakriti simultaneously. Although para prakriti, but prakriti. And para prakriti means subordinate. So subordinate means that there is hierarchy. If you go for work in that company, the boss is your boss. and you're his employee, right? So the jiva is amsha, and then the jiva has two positions, either nityamukta, eternally liberated, or nityabadha, eternally conditioned. Not exactly eternally conditioned, but like eternally conditioned. And then the fourth tattva for the jiva is Veda Abeda. Veda Abed. So Veda Abed, what?
Simultaneously one and different.
Yes. So how we are one and how we're different? We are one.
Simultaneously.
Huh?
Simultaneously in the same way we are one, and the same way we are different. By the inconceivable will of Lord.
Yes, but that needs to be qualified. We are one in quality, and we are different in quantity, isn't it? We're one in quality, like the sun rays is also emit light and warmth. So same quality as the sun, but to the room, it's not like the sun is entering the room. Otherwise, you're finished. Yeah. So yeah, one in quality, one in quantity. So there is. I have difficulty in accepting. I think as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, it's difficult for us to accept that there is no hierarchy. Bhagavad Gita establishes hierarchy, isn't it? And there's hierarchy in terms of development also of bhakti, sadhana.
If you take one view,
Hmm?
you can say according to that view and according to the acharyas there is a hierarchy. But if you take another view, that maybe in a different way they analyze the situation. So it's depend on the point by which you can put the question, the analysis.
In some ways, yes, if you take one view, you can come to one conclusion. If you take another view, you'll come to another conclusion.
That's why sometimes acharyas have different explanations.
Different explanations, yes. Yes.
But one thing, how do we get the holy truth
How do we get the knowledge
about
the absolute truth?
only by sadhu, and the sadhu get that knowledge from another sadhu.
And
There is hierarchy. It is not by just like this we get the knowledge. Jiva get the knowledge. Yes.
some people, they are what is called Kripa Siddha. Immediately.
Yeah, some say that the knowledge is already inherited in the soul. That's also Shastra.
Someone should provoke the revelation.
Something should fire,
Yes.
put the fire.
Provoke.
Okay.
Yes. It is not like something or someone, association of someone or something with the Lord will provoke.
Yes. But your point is that to support the point of hierarchy.
Yes.
Hierarchy. Yeah. I have just one or two small other things to say, but it needs to be said once we close the class. Jai Granth Srimad Bhagavatam Ki.
Jai.
Jai. Make sure it's closed. Huh?